the G20. We're spending $1 billion on security. $1 billion. We spent $1 billion to secure the Olympics. And now we're spending $1 billion over 3 days to protect a bunch of gangsters from the eventual threat of the people waking up. And that's exactly what's going on. They got you running around scared of dudes with tattoos on their arms. These kind of gangsters don't have tattoos. They don't put rims on SUVs. They got aircraft carriers and fighter jets guarding their meetings. They don't do drug deals. They invade nations that produce drugs. And then they ship them home. And flood our cities and streets. So that those who aren't caught up in the cycles of gambling addiction and sex addiction and alcohol addiction, well, get them on drug addiction. And when the crime escalates and the drugs on the street escalate and the violence escalates, we turn to our government to say, protect us. And they fund and arm our police forces every request. The economy is in basic ruin. The only new vehicles you see on the streets are black SUVs, brand new fleets. I see the RCMP has a 6-wheel tank, 2 of them. But a little article says, get used to seeing them around. I don't want to see tanks on the streets. I don't want to get used to seeing them around. I've seen them on TV in war-torn countries. It turns out maybe they weren't war-torn. They just had the bankers rip through their governments and their systems first. And when the economy collapses in the United States, and it has not yet happened, and things are going to be much worse than we've been told, I can assure you. They lied about everything else. They're prepping the American people for civil war. And it's going to be framed around, well, it's going to be quite easy to frame it around a bunch of white rednecks in the South clinging to their Bibles and their guns. We're just angry because they have a black president. And it's going to be very believable.
This is about hating a black man in the White House. This is racism straight up.
And they are going to get slaughtered. And that is a flawed model of revolution that we cannot allow to happen anymore. The military is ready for the armed rebellion in the United States, and it is a mistake to participate in it. We have to do it by ballot. We have to do it peacefully, or else you're not really changing anything. You're just taking over the power chart. And that's not what we want to do. We want to take the whole power chart and turn it upside down. People on the top, armies underneath, peace in the world. And that's not impossible. This can be done in relatively short order. You put a truth party in the United States and allow an election, and they will win. I won't even be involved. It'll be Americans like Ralph Nader and Jesse Ventura and those who said, don't start the revolution without me. Well, I'm not. I'm starting it with you now. Get together. People on the left that know they're getting screwed, and people on the right that know they're getting screwed and lied to need to get together. We can go back to arguing left-right issues post-revolution. But it doesn't matter what perspective you come from if the input data that you're being given to make your decisions on is false. They have a name for people who study thoroughly current events. They're called conspiracy theorists. And that's fine. Because conspiracy charges are going to be laid. There is conspiracy. It's exactly what's happened. And we shouldn't be afraid to say it. Prime Minister Diefenbaker has a quote. It says, "I am Canadian, free to speak without fear, free to worship in my own way, free to stand up for what I think is right and speak out against what I think is wrong, and free to choose those who shall govern my country. This pledge of freedom I vow to uphold for myself and for all mankind." And that's how we should all think. It shouldn't be a quote that we reference or attribute to somebody. That should be an ingrained personal belief. I am a free Canadian, free to stand up and speak without fear. We have been lied to. It's time to do something about it. This is the best thing I can think of. Giving people a chance to have a party that, before they vote for them, can have everything in writing that ensures that they can never be deceived again, and that there's instant consequence for the moment it happens. Now, we have legal precedent set in this province. A judge in White Rock named Laura Giroux, I believe, stripped a city councillor of his position because he lied during the campaign about some emails that he had sent, or his wife had sent. So she ordered him out of office and had him pay $20,000 for the cost of the subsequent election that was necessary to fill his vacancy. And he reached out to other politicians and said, "You got to help me fight this," and no one wanted to touch it. They said, "Hey, we're not going to defend your right to lie, dude. You're just hit." Never mind. So that's still on the books, and we are going to use that law. Any Truth Party candidate tells a lie on the campaign trail or while in office in regards to their official capacity will be removed from office immediately, and they will have to pay the cost of the subsequent election. And that's not an unreasonable request. That is a bare minimum for having freedom. Please. It's not coming for the right or the left. This is coming dead center. We're just people. Most of us are in the middle anyway. All these arguments and division, or you're left wing or you're right wing. People ask me, I said, I'm going to start, this party, come into politics. They said, well, what are you? You're left wing or you're right wing? You're socialist, conservative, a communist, a libertarian, green, a tree hugger? No, I'm a freedom hugger. And I ain't letting go. And all the questions everyone asked me when I said I'm coming in, not one person said, are you honest? I got 2 bites. Oh, is that right? Yeah? How are you? Good, sir. How are you? We gotta try. I see what's going on. I gotta do something. I'm glad you are. All right.